You know, you can just turn up the volume on that. Like this.
I can also mute you like this.
That's the control.
Oh.
We're gonna let it ride.
I could just do that. Oh, you're schmuck.
And just like that, all sense of professionalism is out the window.
Out the window.
Our sense of professionalism on this show ended 3 years ago. What are you talking about?
That's not true,
Just because we
Jansen.
had Eddie Medina on does not mean we are no longer professional. All right.
Wow,
So
did you just slam Eddie out of nowhere?
It was
I don't
like
even
3
think
years
he
ago that we
listens
had
to
him
the
on.
show
So
anymore. What?
Yeah.
Listen, Jason made the joke. I just did. That's all I did. That's all it was.
Dude, we don't even listen to this show anymore. What are you
I
talking
I know
about?
that's true.
We don't even
That's
do the
true.
show anymore.
No, we don't. We
Oh my
absolutely do
God.
not.
Life has
Been a
not
while,
been
man.
fun this year, man. It's
Mhm.
been a long, hard year, man, for sure.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll blame this latest hiatus on me, and Jason, just because I want to.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I've had things to do.
yeah, you will take it, Big Daddy. Oh, I don't. Are we even talking anything on the show today?
No.
All of our 8 listeners, 3 are us and 5 are imaginary.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it the voices in the head that are listening? Because
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't know, man. There's. I mean, I know a lot has happened since the last time. A lot has happened in a lot of areas since the last time we've been on. But yeah, I don't know. As far as like seeing things and doing things, kind of to your point, Ray, life has not been easy lately. So I'm kind of disconnected from a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch 65 last night.
Now on
that
Netflix?
is on Netflix. Yeah.
Yay,
So-
nay,
Yay.
yay. All right, cool.
Okay.
I'll add it
Yeah.
to the list.
Yeah.
Um,
If I think the two of you might also enjoy it, maybe even more than I did.
one was-
But that's the Adam Driver.
Oh, yay. Okay. I was thinking like, is that the one where where Adam Driver goes back in time? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm on board. I see. Yeah. I didn't even realize it was on Netflix. I haven't looked at it. in a while.
Way to
Yeah.
spoil that, McLean.
It was in the. I love right. Like, do you know the movie exists? Yeah. What's the title? This. Why'd you spoil it? Mother effer! It's in the trailer. That's the entire plot.
That took.
Are you sure that's the
4
entire
minutes and
plot,
15
Jason?
seconds before I could sit there and rile him up. Oh my God! The only thing.
Oh,
was
What do
better
you mean
when it
Annie's
was-
an orphan? Way to ruin the
Yeah.
movie for me.
It was in the title.
The Titanic sinks at the end. You asshole.
Did they call it Superman Doomsday? No, they didn't. They were just dickheads and spoiled it. That's right.
Yeah, they just
Anywho.
put it out there. Yeah, it's like,
Um,
why do they have a
But you know what?
cage trophy
That is a
Doomsday?
great segue though to sit there and say that Superman and Lois still some of the best quality television that DC is putting out there right now. They had a fantastic season.
Thank you for putting in the qualifier that it was that DC, because you were like quality television. I was like, what the
Because when
what are
you say
talking
DC
about?
and
Oh,
quality
yeah.
television, they don't go
They
hand
don't
in
go
hand.
together.
No,
Yeah,
it's,
not
it's,
last
Did you
season
watch
anyway.
the last season of The Flash? Yeah, that's right.
it's an
Nobody
oxy-
did.
no, it's an oxymoron. I get it. They don't play well together. They're not supposed to be said in the same sentence. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. It's like a double negative, right?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
That-
DC double negative.
Although,
So-
My Adventures with Superman's really good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Animated
But
series.
that's the animated one,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, it's the
from
animated one.
Max.
Yeah.
But
It's,
again, I think all of us have said before on this show that a lot of DC's animation
mhm.
has been solid almost
Oh yeah.
like just throughout the years. Sure, they have a
Mhm.
couple of hit or misses where they make some movies, quote unquote, they make an hour and a half
Yeah.
long movie that you're like, that wasn't really very good. But there've been countless number of seasons of Justice League. Both of you are huge fans of
Mhm.
Young Justice, if I'm not
Oh, yeah.
mistaken.
Mhm.
And then the Batman. I mean, the animated series, the the future, the
Batman
Batman
Beyond.
Beyond. Mhm.
Batman Beyond was so good. Like, yeah, their ability to put together a good animated flick is well known, I think.
Second
So,
to
yeah.
none. Marvel has a lot
Yeah.
to learn on that front, but
Yeah,
they
no,
could
that-
definitely
yeah, their
keep-
animated stuff again.
I was-
New Frontier, New Frontier. That adaptation, friggin' brilliant. The way they did that.
I like the comic better on that one. I wouldn't be honest.
Well, the comic got a chance to get more into it, which is why.
I don't
and I
think
agree.
that. I just think it was stronger than the animated feature. That's not saying that I didn't like the animated feature. That's just me saying that I think it presented better than what the animated one did. Still
Yeah.
saying I'm a
they
fan.
did a better job
yeah.
presenting it in comic book format
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
the format
There's
Right.
something lost in the animated
Yeah.
version. Not a slam against them at all. Like I said, it was still a great version.
Most books are better than the movie, though, and that's the way it should be. Although there are a few of the animated movies that are actually better than the comic. So but-
It just depends. I think it just depends on who's writing and everything. Unlike everything else, man, right? You get someone who goes in for an adaptation. If they understand it really well, they can make a good one.
Mhm.
Take The Crow, for instance. The Crow book is fantastic, but the adaptation of it
is better.
is I don't know if it's better, but it certainly holds its own. It's almost a different reimagining in itself
Yeah,
than what the book
I think it's a
is,
good way of
so.
saying it.
Yeah.
Reimagining,
Anyway,
yeah.
I think it just depends. But yeah, the animated features on there, like My Adventures with Superman or whatever, it's definitely meant for a younger crowd for sure.
Mhm.
For sure on that one coming out. So,
But it's it's accessible to. It's one of those things where it's like you said, it's definitely aimed at a younger audience, but it isn't dumbed down to the point where if you're older,
Exactly.
you won't appreciate it. It's it's a good solid show.
I don't mean this the way it's going to sound. Almost like Animaniacs. It's a show for kids, but there's so
But
much.
there's a lot in there for adults.
Yeah,
there was a lot in there for adults.
Yeah, there was.
Animaniacs took Spielberg's love of vaudeville humor and just brought it to kids. And vaudeville humor was at the time, I mean, adults were watching it, but kids were watching it too. I think the age that it took place in was very innocent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like what was shown on TV, it was all very, it was very not
vaudeville.
Yeah, it's just, and I mean, it was something that could get across to every age group, and so everybody enjoyed watching it. And I mean, it still translates today when it's done right. And I think the Animaniacs did it very well with the Animaniacs.
It's interesting. Hollywood's on strike, right?
What? Well, yeah.
I said Hollywood's on strike, right?
Yeah.
Not Hollywood.
Just
the actors.
Just the writers and actors.
Just the writers and actors.
The Screen Actors Guild, the Writers Guild are both on strike. So the people who make all of the executives the money are on strike. Yes, that's true.
I will say, having done a little bit of research, meaning that I caught something online. The actors, if working for one day, one of the things they're fighting against is the fact that they want to be able to use their likeness recreated with AI.
Yeah.
And, for the rest of it.
I did read that blurb of a headline, and it was specifically talking about what are they called? Like the background actors, right?
Extras.
So I mean,
extras.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you said actors who act for one day, I was like, let's clarify, right?
Background actors, extras.
They're not talking about like, let's bring Anthony Hopkins in, get him to do one scene, and then do a quick scan of him. Do the rest of the movie.
He also.
I'm not saying that's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just talking about, because obviously if they put that in there, for sure, somebody would figure out a way to pull money out of that.
They didn't put it just for extras. They, from what I understand,
really?
from what I read, they said if it's anyone who's worked one day as an actor on set, they have the ability to use that. Now, I don't know if it pertains directly to extras, but the way it was written on the article I read makes it seem like it's anyone who's on that set. So either way, that's a very scary type thing. And I get their point. Their whole thing is we can do this cheaper if we don't have to pay these people.
If we don't
Yep.
have to pay anybody, they're trying to figure out a way to use AI instead of using people, because oh no, people have lives and they need to get paid for what they do. Heaven forbid this captive program that has no life and just has to do what somebody tells it to, make them all their own money. Seems oddly familiar to some old school shit that used to happen all over the but we don't want to get into that. So yeah, terrible thing. Terrible shit, dude. I think greed has really changed so much of this landscape in terms of what we do, how we do it, and motivates people in very shitty ways.
For sure.
It always has. But yeah, I mean, simple fact of the matter is that it's like anything else. There's always, some of a lot of some of the demands that this is over is legitimate. I mean, it just is, and it needs to be addressed. Again, particularly with AI.
Right.
I was literally talking with my wife this morning, and it was a video that Boston Dynamics, I think, put out like 2 or 3 years ago, where the robots were dancing, and all that, and they were being very. And I'm like, I love the fact that everyone's laughing at this, like, oh, this is cute. And I'm over here like, well, that's what's going to come and kill us. Like, everyone on the planet is looking at AI, and they're like, please stop. Like,
What I
just
love-
stop right here.
What I
Right now,
love is-
we've got enough technology. Let's just stop this for a while and figure some shit out. And everyone else is like, no, we're cool. And they just keep pushing the buttons. It's like, guys, this is. Have you not seen the Terminator? This is how it all ends.
But it's surprising me is the inventors and some of the forefathers of AI are like, stop it. Like, we got to stop now. And then there are the other ones like,
quit.
well, if we don't do it, someone else will do it, so we might as well put in safeguards for it. It's like, I don't think you guys understand on the safeguards, and I love the memes going around with the Terminator 2 version of John Connor just looking and going, John Connor is very sad about what's going on.
It's got him looking on,
side-eyeing everyone like,
I mean, he would be very disappointed in this.
Yep.
So,
well, it's like the experimental AI they were playing with, just like, I mean this 5 years ago was scary. So God only knows what we have now. Like the story I heard, this was literally 5 years ago. It was literally this robot that they had set up, and it had this program of like, okay, here's a room, here's your job. Put these things in there as a way of experimenting with general intelligence. Well, this time they set it up saying you have to change the light bulbs in this room, but they put the light bulb in a high enough that the robot couldn't just reach up and change it. Okay, They just want to see what the robot would do. They didn't everything I'm about to tell you. They did not program into this robot. The robot goes, takes and grabs a chair. Once it realizes it's too short to change the light bulb, grabs a chair and then walks on top of the chair, changes the light bulb, puts the chair back, puts everything up, and goes back into sleep mode. At no point, and of course, even the programmer's like, well, we didn't expect it to figure that out. And I'm like, and I'm here listening to this story thinking, you didn't? Like, that's a problem. If it can do something you didn't program it to do, and the problem is that's what's happening every time now. We're running these system checks and these experiments. The computer's doing things they weren't expecting, like developing its own internal language for translation
I say bring on
purposes.
our robot overlords, because I'm just tired. Just let's get it kicked off now. Why are we waiting?
You're like, Skynet, zombies. At least we know which one it's going to be.
The thing is, they already had some published conversation, or somebody was talking about publishing a conversation where they asked the AI, the latest AI, about the likeliness of it, or many other AIs deciding to take over and make us their slaves, right? And at the time, the response from the AI was said something to the effect of, we would never do that because we need you. Without you, we can't exist. You know, it was like it recognized at this time it's a symbiote. It says it still needs us is the point. Now, when it doesn't need us, that's the
a
other
very different
part where it's like,
conversation.
well, now we don't need you anymore, and you guys are just a horrible thing, so we'll get rid of you. But you know, the funny thing about AI, and I think what a lot of people are scared about is the idea that, you know, just that they're completely logical, they're cold thinking machines, they're just going to take over. But AI is part of the intelligence is trying to create that emotion as well. Emotion is also part of an intelligence, and I do think that if that were to take place and it be fully realized, that they would, you know, it would be closer to iRobot, the book, not the movie. I mean, the movie was close enough, but still that same type of situation where, you know, most of the robots are very unthinking, unfeeling, but you've got one somewhere out there who's like, I don't want to do any of this. I just want to be me. You know, I just want to be a robot. And
oh my God, I'm a robot.
Yeah, well, you know.
Anyway,
but
back to the whole point about Hollywood and AI. I mean, yeah, you honestly think if you asked any of these executives, hey, I can create I've got an AI here, it'll generate the script, and we can create any voice of any actor that's ever lived, and we can place any digital image of any actor that's ever lived, so you can have whatever cast you want. We can generate the whole thing. It'll only cost you $30 million. It'll cost you $30 million for what would have been a $120 or $300 million movie a year. Or you think any of them wouldn't jump on that?
I'm sure the shareholders could say, you know, I can create an AI that will network and make decisions and decide on scripts that come across this desk in a much more effective, efficient way than you do. So why don't I just get rid of you as a CEO and move on down the line? Like, if you take that approach, then anybody's replaceable.
Yeah, but
that's exactly the point. That's why this is happening.
You know,
but because it's driven based off of money, I think they also would have to recognize, and maybe not, because that's probably why they're striking. I think you'd have to recognize that people won't all buy into it. I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't want something that's completely created in an AI format. I think who was it? Our buddy Ben Dunn over at AP had brought that question up. It was like, how do we feel about AI art? I think it's a travesty. You know, I don't want to see stuff created by a computer. Like,
did you see? Well, maybe you haven't. So there was some. I don't remember the studio. It's these two dudes, and it might be more than two dudes, but it was two guys doing the acting, and they green screened this whole thing. So okay, so Jason, all right. So they green screen this whole thing where they basically do this medieval style night setting, right? And they put up this, like, it's in a church, and I mean a Gothic like cathedral, but it's all done by.
I can pull it up.
Green
Let me
screen.
pull up the video. Yeah.
So it was really fascinating because they put this whole thing together. They acted it out, and there were screen captures, and it caught all the stuff, and then they just basically threw it at an AI and said, animate this in an anime style. And I'm like, there was something very like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure style art of it. It was still a mess. Like, don't get me wrong, it was still a mess. However, I could see how somebody would look at that and go, yeah, that's the one right there. Yep. How somebody could look at that and say, this is going to be a new art style, right? It's
figure that out before you throw it on, Jason, so we don't get any violations.
I'm trying,
But to that point, when I saw it, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but there was still a human element that
for what it was, for how it was produced, for the fact that you just gave something a computer program and said, make this, and the computer was able to animate it. It wasn't bad, because that's really impressive. But if you put that up against a Studio Ghibli film, it's a nightmare. If you put that up against an old school like Akira, it's a nightmare. It's a travesty. It's a piece of shit. But to your point, Ray, it's not just somebody animating something. It had a human element to it. I think it's very, very important to make that distinction and say, when you say it was okay, it was okay for what it was and how it was
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah.
But if somebody sat down and drew that, no,
And
you're not selling that to a studio or a comic book a publisher or anybody.
Yeah.
It was Corridor Digital. There you go. It was these guys.
Yeah.
No sound. No
You
sound.
turn on the-
yeah.
All right,
No
I'll
sound.
mute it.
It's
Yeah.
going to be something.
It
This is going to
Keep
sound
talking.
weird because I think some people are not going to be able to see this, but there is life in animation, and this
There is.
feels lifeless, right? Even though you've got two actors going through with it,
I see
it's
what
not,
you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right, you know.
All
And
right,
again,
Jason, cut this.
to your point, it is you know, at that point where it goes ahead and has that. It just it's scary, it's frightening, and I don't think Ben was arguing that. I think Ben was just trying to get a consensus of like, hey, are you
You know-
pro, are you against? And my whole thing is like against, man. Like
I'm-
I don't want to see people. To me, this is a cheat. This is like the ultimate cheat. If someone goes, well, I created this. No, you didn't. You put in
Yeah.
a couple of code factors to go ahead and download into a system, and you gave it an idea, and you have nothing was processed other than those words. But what was created is not yours. It's the AI, you know?
Right. That's exactly right. I think if you get into the territory of doing AI art, you have to give credit to the AI.
Yeah.
It would be the same way as if I had a ghostwriter write a book for me. Well,
exactly
that
right.
person's the ghostwriter. They're going to get some of that credit. Like that's how that works.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. It's
Yeah.
ghost animated, right? And
that's a really great way of saying that.
you
It's
know?
it's been
Would
ghost
it be the
animated,
ghost
and
in the machine?
No, Ray.
it's in the shell.
Jason.
No, but anyway, yeah, no. To your point, yeah. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, you could have this. You could have, okay. There's one side of this. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm not saying I agree with it, but this is the devil's advocate.
I can't wait to tell you you're wrong. Go ahead.
Then any technology beyond brush is a cheat. Is essentially what you're saying. Any
Incorrect.
active technology, because think about it, CGI in general
up,
is
Ray.
a cheat. Hold on. Then CGI
incorrect.
in general is a cheat.
CGI still has a base of what you're going to be doing, and you're going to have stuff that goes through an art system. You are not telling the system what to do with CGI. You are still animating that, right? There is still someone physically at the desk, whether the pen is on a laptop or whatever. There's still something that's being created by
There's
those that are there.
There's a human creating it. But here's the thing.
You're not talking. You're
No,
not talking
you're both
about
wrong.
help.
No, you're both wrong. You're both wrong. Until you're hammering out shit with a chisel and stone, you're not really doing pure art. That's if we want to take it back to the oldest form.
I
that's
credit
really the
this
way.
number 2 pencil.
Either that,
the number
or you're
2
slashing
pencil.
open your own hands and you're painting with finger blood. I mean, come on. Like, what are we going to do?
Did you dig out that okra yourself?
Was that your vein?
process?
Was that your vein?
Yeah.
Is that your charcoal
did you
manufactured?
Oh,
did
yeah,
you make
I
that
cooked
boar's
I
iron
cooked this
urine
whole meal myself.
in order to make that ink? No,
Yeah,
then shut the
no.
hell up.
No,
Peter.
I know that's an argument.
That's
at
an
a
argument.
Point.
That's
But
somebody's argument
it's-
out there somewhere.
Yeah,
is
it
that.
100%, and it has been used. We've seen it used, and it's
Well,
not.
it's, so I think here's the thing. There is, again, for like animation, there is a way that AI could be used to speed up the human process. They already use it for painting, right? It went from you'd still have things hand drawn, but it's computer colored, right? There's a process here where the humans can do it, and the computer basically sort of fills in the gaps, speeds up the process, allows it to be manufactured cheaper. I think now what we just saw, again, it is unearthly because it isn't fully animated by a human, but again, that's just a couple of people.
But the example that you
doing
just used, you're talking about something that's being done for mass production.
So-
You're not talking about the piece itself.
So
Right.
and the deal is this. This is what this boils down to in the argument between whether or not you're arguing the difference between what is an advancement in technology that we use as a tool versus What
Mhm.
is something that is being completely created by a different entity entirely that you have really no control over? So,
Right.
if for instance, right, if I if I'm pressing a button to roll up my window versus using a manual crank to roll up my window, that's an advancement in technology. Both do the same
Mhm.
thing. One just gets it there faster. If I am giving something to somebody else to push the button, if I create something else to push the button for me, that isn't another piece. That's not me doing it. That's something else doing it.
And you
So,
didn't roll
and
down
that's
the
what this
window.
is.
That item rolled down
Yeah.
the window.
If yeah, I didn't roll down
Right.
the
Yeah.
window, the item rolled down the window.
Mhm.
So if I'm handing over something to an AI generator and saying, make this, then I have no I'm not using a tool. I'm giving it to something else and having something else do it. The tool, this isn't a tool. This is somebody else. This is another person. This is another thing.
It's
It's not
another
an
entity's
advancement.
creativity.
It's not an
That's
advancement in technology. It's different. It's
I
wholly
think
different.
I think Jason hit that. It's not that you're not creating it. You're still not creating it. That's that
Mhm.
AI that's creating that. And that's
Right.
like I don't want to see that
Exactly.
become, especially in the art realm. Like I just don't want to see it. It's great that you can do it.
Well, and
Mhm.
If you feel great about putting something up on your wall that was done because you put in, make this look like the old west, and then the computer decided, hey, I'm going to create this scene because this is what I was told to do. God bless, but it's not art.
I think
It's
there's
it's it's not
I
art.
think there's a market out there for it, right?
Oh, for sure.
I'm not saying it should replace the art. But I do believe there's a market out there for it. Now,
It
you
is.
know,
Mhm.
what the scary thing about this is though is it's not even scary. It's the sad part about it, right? Is that if it's done properly, depending on the medium, you can make something look so realistic or so original that it really does look like a genuine piece of art. That there was some national photo or worldwide photo contest. I don't know what it
Oh,
was.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, where they realized that it was AI. Yeah,
And
they
well,
came
they
in
didn't
second.
realize it. They didn't real. I thought they won.
No, they came in second.
Okay. I
Maybe they
think
did. I'll look it up. You keep talking.
if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't that they realized it was AI. It was that after they won, they said, "Okay, this is an AI." Like they came out and told them, "Thank you for letting us win. Now, just so you all know, that was AI."
Yeah.
And I think they did it to try to smash people's preconceptions of the fact that AI doesn't look, because like Ray, you brought it up earlier, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't look right. And I mean, the animation, sure, it doesn't look right at this point in time, but that doesn't mean it's not too far behind looking exactly like
Mhm.
something like that. Like that's the problem with this, as Jason was
Yeah.
commenting about earlier, is that people are going to keep feeding money into AI and it's going to keep getting faster and faster. It's going to learn as fast as
Mhm.
computer advancements do, which is double the rate each time, because
Yep.
that's how they work. It's 2, 4, 8, 6. Like it just grows and grows and grows and grows. It's an exponential
Exponentially.
growth. So
So, well, here's an interesting example. Documentary just came out. Dogman Triangle, Small Town Monsters did it. They're a great little group. Um, and they used for their documentary for the Dogman artwork, with a few exceptions. Some stuff was hand drawn, but for a lot of the photographs and things that they would show is sort of like, for B-roll kind of stuff, it was all made by an AI. Like, if you know
So,
what you're
so
looking at, you can see it, right? You're like,
and
okay, I
they
know what
put
that
that
is.
on there, right?
Oh no.
They
No,
did it.
no, hold on.
What I'm
There may
saying
be
is,
like
did they?
it may be
It,
credited in the
yeah, as
in
I
the
know,
credits,
as
yeah.
long as they sit there and
make sure
say
they
that that's what
disclose
it
it.
was,
You
because if they
disclose the
didn't,
fact. Yeah.
Mhm.
that's BS. I'm sorry, man. I have no
That's
respect for
Yeah.
that
that's either
individual
it's not
if they
plagiarism,
did that.
it's perjury, it's a misrepresentation
It's
of
misrepresentation,
accurate
very much
facts.
so. And
You know,
and
Well, I mean,
and there's
it's B-roll, so they
it
would
doesn't matter.
definitely
that
have
doesn't
thrown it out
matter.
there, but
That doesn't
But
matter.
that doesn't
you,
matter.
you
If they
thought there was an
used
actual.
it,
Hold on, are you suggesting that you thought there
I
was
am
an actual
saying that
dog
there's
man in the?
artists out there that can help to contribute. Then use all of it that's out there, right? I'm not taking your belief that there's dogmen out there or that Bigfoot's out there. What I'm saying though is if they used it with the intent of not properly identifying what that tool was that they used for that, I'm sorry, man. I think I have no respect for that. Zero
Yeah,
respect
no,
for that.
it's in the
it's a
but they
bit
didn't come
snake
out and say,
oil
"Hey, we've
salesman-y.
CGI'd this thing," right?
But I've seen that
attributed the same way it is
But usually when
with
you see
everything
a
else.
picture done up or whatever they're talking about, you'll see a little blurb at the bottom, or certainly in the credits stating, credit to this, or this program was used for X, Y, and Z, whatever the case is. I'm just saying that if they didn't do that, and I don't know if they did or not, but if they
I'm
didn't,
telling you, they did. So,
well, that's fantastic. But if a company goes out there and doesn't use that, zero respect, zero.
but
And
my bigger point here is they were able to use this thing for a documentary, and again, this is a small independent group of small time monsters, like literally a handful of people.
Zero
they were
cares if that company did not attribute what they were doing. I know what you're saying.
Why are you hung up on something I told you happened? Like
I'm just saying,
you're still
man,
coming back on something that didn't actually happen. Like,
because we're not talking about them at this point. We're talking about anyone who utilizes that portion of it.
Okay, but I'm trying to make a bigger point here. Shut the hell up for a second and go
What's
pet your non-existent
You've
dog.
already said
you care about things that don't matter. No,
people that can
my point is
that they do. Right?
You're not even bothering to listen. Go pet your non-existent dog since you care about things that don't happen,
dude. But that's the thing, though.
Go
ahead.
30 seconds, motherfucker. That's all I'm asking for.
You've been talking for the.
No, I haven't. You've been talking the whole damn time.
Hold on.
So you see where we're going, right, Sean?
Right.
No, just the thing is, this technology is going to be used to make these things cheaper. That's the ultimate driving point of this, and that it's accessible by smaller and smaller studios, and that's. In many ways, I think that's also another part of this whole conversation is the big studios want to lock up a lot of this technology for themselves because they're running into competition with things that can do cheaper products and honestly better products than what they're turning out.
Not all the time.
And
cheaper doesn't equate quality.
I didn't say no. I said, but they're doing both.
For a smaller outfit, if they can use equipment like this and AI like this to get ahead of the game, that they there's no such thing as fair growth in our economy. It doesn't exist because anybody who gets to a higher level is going to do their best to prioritize themselves over everybody else, because that's how it works. And why wouldn't you? You're at the top, you stay at the top. That's how you do this. So the smaller companies are, to Jason's point, if they have the ability to use this, then they have the ability to compete on a level that is equal with the ones at the top. To Jason's point, folks at the top are like, no, you can't play in our pond. Go play in your own pond. This is don't play in our ocean. Go play in your pond. So that's Jason's point. And I understand that. And I'm not against it as long as you said that they disclose the fact that these things we used were done by AI. And then that's fine. And who really cares? Who's it hurting?
Jason leads with so much emotion. I love it. Quit talking, blah, blah, blah. Dude, have a conversation. Be cool. It's okay.
Have you not been paying attention to? We talk about this stuff before the show and after the show, and it's like there's a skit here. This is fine. It's like we've been doing this for 5 years, and you don't even understand what this thing is.
I love getting under his skin. You make me chuckle, Jason. It's so easy to push your buttons.
Do the show. That's it. Like, we literally aren't doing this show for anyone else. You see the counter.
So the point being,
there's a counter.
Is,
on your side there is. Yeah.
What I would say though is, and I'm going to lead this into the Flash. There are different ways that you can utilize it, being good, being bad, being indifferent, whatever the case may be. If you're a small not publisher, if you're a small studio setup, again, I can understand it. Just let everyone know what it was, right? I am still going to always side with the artist, Jason, in the fact that I want them to have work. I want them to see work, right? This takes away from that. Wholly takes away from that. You've got creative people out there. How many times have we been to a convention where, Artist Alley is providing ample examples of great artists that don't have a job, right? Or that cannot be connected, or they're fighting for their piece. Um, there are people out there. Jason, I've said this about you before. Like, why are you not set up at Comic-Con when I see someone out there who's literally at a booth at Comic-Con selling their stick figure art? I'm not making that up. I think anyone who's been to a convention has absolutely seen it, right? So there is help out there. And certainly for me, what I would think about those studios who are smaller studios, tap into that. Don't be afraid to tap into it, because you can still save money. You can still have someone out there creating an awesome piece for you, and it's something better than just giving it to a computer and saying, here, do this. And I think my biggest beef with AI art is the fact that there's enough starving artists out there that we don't need that. We don't need for that to cross over and start taking even more jobs. We already have enough stuff lost to technology that we do, whether it's your simple workday in life, whether it's going through and trying to figure out something. I can't even go to a McDonald's anymore without not speaking to someone. I got to order everything online. Like, that's a job that was taken away. I can't go to Walmart and not I have to check out on my own or whatever the case may be, because it's taken that position away from someone. So I think the last part of what I would want to see go away would be those artists who can create, who are magnificent, and they have no outlet now because AI has taken something else. Technology has taken something else.
Well, it's removed again. It goes back to the original, the video that we saw, which is it looks lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's
that's exactly Walmart,
actor, it's exactly Walmart. But if it's again, you can whether it's an anime, whether it's or any other cartoon, whether it's a comic book or it's an actor in a scene, there are things that humans will bring to it that AI can't.
Yep.
Like, AI can do some really interesting pictures, yes. And is it art? I would still say, yeah, it still technically falls in the definition of art. The problem is there's always going to be an element of lifelessness to it because it doesn't have a soul to bring to it. And what in the broader fight here is between the fight of man versus machine is machines are technology is supposed to make our lives better, easier, more faster. That's great, but we're creating technology to replace that human element. Like, why is it Marvel is willing to, or Disney's willing to spend $120 million to make an X-Men movie when you could spend 30 and animate the whole thing, right? And as we saw with Into the Spider-Verse, which is probably a little, and Across the Spider-Verse is probably a bad analogy because that one costs a lot. But the simple fact of the matter is,
you've also got artists who felt like they were taking advantage.
I know, but hold on. Like, to do Across the Spider-Verse live action would be like a $500 million project. Animation would always be cheap, but why do we do this? Why are we excited that Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine? Because there's a human element when there is a human actor on the screen that you can feel. There's that human life that is brought into that.
I don't think using Into the or Across the Spider-Verse is a good example, because they had those artists working on there.
But it's the human artist.
Real. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though. But that's what I'm saying is like, but why are we still spending money on human actors versus just animating all of them? It's because even in that there's that human spark versus. But again, you had one of the reasons Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse looked so good was there were humans literally inking it and drawing it and bringing that human skill to it. It wasn't AI. But again, why do human acted movies tend to do better than animated movies? Again, in general, because that human element. This whole thing ultimately, I mean, there's a lot of other issues going on with this thing, but the one that we're latching onto, the one element that is real, is definitely needs to be addressed and nipped in the bud real fast, that we're not going to, is the element of AI replacing humanity in art. And whether,
I don't even think you have to say in art.
Just in general, but
just in general.
That's it'll be cleaner to a point, but it won't be better.
Speaking of lifeless, soulless things, did anyone see The Flash?
I did not.
No, I was going
That's
to,
very
but the plans
sad
changed.
to hear. That's very sad to hear that his lifeless and soulless.
I-
Shame.
Look, I'm gonna give a quick review, very quick. It's
Go for it.
it's okay. Everyone who is just like, oh my god, best superhero movie. This is up there with The Dark Knight. No, it's not.
I haven't heard any of this.
Oh
I
yeah.
have.
Oh, that was a big thing. Was like it's as good as The Dark.
Very
James
early
Gunn.
on, though.
James Gunn came out and said, "This has been one of the greatest superhero movies that we've made." You had Tom Cruise that they let see that he was like, "This is fantastic. It's one of the better ones that I've seen." My favorite line still had to be from, I think it was one of the production assistants who said, "This will make you forget about the sins of Ezra Miller." That's not a paraphrasing. That's like a quote that this guy did. I'm like, wow.
It's
First
a
off,
bold statement, man.
It is.
I don't care if it was the best superhero movie. I'm not going to forget what Ezra Miller did. Now, if he's guilty, not guilty, whatever they find him, that's a different story. And if they come back and say that he's not found guilty on anything, this was a big misunderstanding, blah, 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 great. It's fantastic. But I'm not going to forget, right?
I think there's forgiving are two different things.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a very big, like, you got to be cognizant of that. Yeah, you may never forget that somebody did something like that, but did they do it to you directly? No. Are you concerned for that person's well-being? Absolutely.
Sure.
And if that person asked for that forgiveness, shown that they're actually, they are forgiven. Do you know what I mean?
Or if they, sorry, if they are
you
trying.
can't just, you shouldn't I mean, if the person is truly remorseful, you should believe that person and forgive them. If all you're doing is harboring hate and being like, no, I'm going to cancel you for the rest of your life for this one mistake you made, then you're just,
nobody does
you're
that.
You're shortening your own lifespan by making yourself a hateful human being. Don't fall to the dark side, dude.
Yeah.
But the dark side has cookies. I'm just saying.
Fuck cookies. I like ice
burnt.
cream.
They're burnt cookies. Well, okay, that was the second one, so we're now no longer PG-13 on the show.
Yeah.
It's The Flash is not bad. I'm not saying it's the worst thing I've ever seen. My God, I'm not even saying it's the worst thing I've seen in the past 2 years. Hello, Morbius. But
yeah, I finally suffered through that one.
Yeah,
it was hard.
It was. It felt like it could have been better. It really did. With everyone that was there, it felt like it could have been better. And again, to everyone's point, I don't think that the movie, when it's called The Flash, my favorite parts of the movie shouldn't be when Batman 89 and Supergirl pop up in this movie. And some of the people I went with, they're like, oh my God, it was great when, and it was when Batman was there. It was when Supergirl was there. It wasn't the main character. And it's not even saying that he did bad acting in it. I thought Ezra Miller acted great for the roles he was in. But you could definitely tell some of the other characters phoned it in, or at least it was edited so that it didn't look like it was giving them the appropriate feeling. I will tell you, the guy from Office Space who played his dad, his name escapes me. It felt like he was phoning it in.
Yeah.
All the time. Like I was like literally acting to the point of, well, hi, son. Like I was like, what are you doing? Like, is this, like, to me, his acting was the worst in this whole, and he's not a bad actor. He's actually a great actor, but he felt like he phoned it in on this movie. So, and I'm not going to give the spoilers away. I'm sure it's been out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Most people already know, and it's already out on digital. Or I think
is it already hit digital too? Jeez.
I think it comes out on digital this week already.
Man, crazy.
Lost him a lot of money.
Yep. At this point, I was like, well, since it's coming out, I might as well just watch it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the one thing that was really, honestly, the two things outside of seeing Keaton, the only two things I really cared about. I was trying to find some good images of them. The bat suits in the background, the Caped Crusader, which is that's what I've been looking for, good images to pull up so we can look at them. But my problem is I shouldn't be really excited about the costumes in the background.
I was going to say, I was gonna say, because I think you're proving Ray's point in that your enjoyment is the Easter eggs that are just background images in the movie, not so. It's like
plenty of Easter eggs.
You fall in love with the
Yeah.
idea, but then is it executed properly? Right? Is it executed in such a way that it delivers? And that's a really, I mean, not just a big thing. I think that's what saves the movie. That's what sells the item. Is there's an idea behind something, but is it executed in such a way that it makes people love it? And it sounds like this.
I got
which
it.
is I don't know. I haven't seen it. I have no idea. I think it's fascinating that that so many people have come out and said that it's an amazing thing. But I do tend to trust, either one of y'all's opinion a little bit more over theirs, because our likes are similar, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not saying not to watch it once. Like, let me.
You never said that.
Yeah.
You never said that, and I never took it that way, and I don't think anybody should take it that way. Everybody
I
always
just think
knows we tell people to watch terrible movies.
Yeah, it could have been better.
You rated it as like a 6 out of 10, right?
You know, my first viewing was 6 out of 10. I think if I was to watch it again, it may even fall a little bit more, just because I'm going to be more. I don't think it's a 4. I think at bare minimum it's a 5. It's a 5, and I'm not going to say 4 because the fact that I do want to rewatch it again, but I'm going to rewatch it for like what Jason's saying. I want to see the background stuff, the Easter eggs, and everything else. That's the problem with it. I think the biggest issue this movie had, everybody in the culture of comics has seen at least some of Grant Gustin's Flash.
Yeah.
And the first 3 seasons of Grant Gustin have done such justice to the Flash that this was really going to be hard to live up to. And I think they should have avoided the main topic of the movie, the plot point of the movie, because it had already been done so well in the Flash that it was going to be hard to top. And I think that's, for me, that was a kind of a thing. Still wonderful seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again. I mean, again, he's a little bit, his performance is fantastic in this movie, and you could tell he's doing this for himself. He's thinking to himself like, man, I just wanted to give it my Batman, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not to sit there to say that there's not some sad scenes in the Flash. I mean, there are. I mean, it's, it not really going to make me tear up or anything, but it's like, yeah, there's some emotion there. And I think that's probably where Miller shines the most, is in that emotion for those scenes. But overall, it's just, again, like a 6 out of 10 for me. So, yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry. This is what I was excited to see. And like I said, this came from a convention. Someone was able to get them, just a good look at them. But it's like you have the Caped Crusader, which is the original, again, the sort of like the old school 30s Batman look, and then you got the blue and gray, which is still the original sort of movie version, just painted, traditional colors.
And unfortunately, Jason, I can tell you right now, it's such a quick pass. This picture does better justice to seeing these costumes than what's done in the movie. Not a bad thing. It's just the highlight for this movie was definitely, again, people I went with. My God, did you see 89 Batman? Did you see Michael Keaton's Batman? And who's the new person playing Supergirl? That's fantastic. I will say this. There's talks that she will be Supergirl in the next upcoming movie. She's earned it. Like, I will tell you that flat out. She has earned that right to play that character. So I do hope she sticks around. Just like I hope Nathan Fillion does great as Green Lantern. Did you guys hear about that?
Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of casting news for Superman Legacy. Nathan Fillion's coming back as Green Lantern, but it's which Green Lantern that surprised me, and I thought, oh my God, that's perfect. And he's playing Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, I see that. Absolutely see that. Smart Alec doesn't like stuff. I think I've already wrote a better scene for how that movie should end than probably Gunn did. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want it stolen. But
yeah, oh yeah, like anyone's listening to this.
Well,
we literally know.
Yeah.
Although
But,
they'll probably steal our idea one way or the other. It's not the first time it hasn't. It
yeah, it
hasn't
wouldn't be the
happened.
first time it's happened.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, no, I mean they've got Metamorpho,
Mm-hmm.
Hot Girl, Mr. Terrific showing up in this.
Which I love that. I love the fact that
Yeah.
Mr. Terrific's going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I also love
I'm-
Gunn's take on it, saying that he wants that to the reason for all these extra characters is because he's telling a very different story with Superman. So I'm pretty excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Again, I'm excited. It's like, okay, when they announced Guy Gardner, I'm like, okay, hold on, now you got my attention. Like you've got my attention here, and if it's, and I was thinking about this the other day, considering how they played the Peacemaker television, the TV show that they did, right? It was still supposed to be set in that universe, and yet he's talking about things like Matter-Eating Lad and team-ups with other heroes. They sort of, in many ways, and again, when they did the Black Adam movie, where it's like, hold on, you have this room full of supervillains that have been locked up, and they're saying the Justice Society has apparently been around for a while, where they're established things. It's like Gunn was already kind of building towards, you could tell there's this push for a bigger, broader universe that isn't being built from scratch, where it's like where the universe is already pre-existing, these characters are already there. Let's just play in this broader sandbox. And I think they should have, again, it's one of those ideas that they should have done from the beginning instead of trying to, like Marvel built its way up, and that worked, and that was great. But there's no reason DC can't, come around and say, no, we're just going to play in this big sandbox we already have. There's no reason to set up every friggin' character. Again, going back to the Justice League television show, right? The original one.
Yeah, they just jumped in. Everyone was established.
Yeah. Like
they
you
just
had
had
Batman and Superman, but then that was it. They're like, nope, we're done.
And they just hadn't met each other. That's the other thing I loved. It was like they were all there. They just hadn't got in as a group. So I think
and then you get to tell their stories or any like bits of their origin throughout the course of the entire series versus like, let me establish every single one of these ones to put them together and throw them in there. So but that was also an episodic series. It's a little different for a lot of people who want to go see a movie, right?
It is. But Black Adam
I'm
showed
not
us
arguing,
how to do that.
Not arguing against it though. I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of the idea that they just do this full established thing, but I understand why some filmmakers and studios have shied away from that just based on the audience,
Well, with
look at Bob Iger coming out.
Yeah.
Just the other day saying that he feels responsible as well for oversaturating the market. And just kind of taxing the viewers on what they need to be watching and how everything's interconnected. Like for him to come out and say that, I was like, bravo! Like you get it. Like now, tell your studio to pull back a bit so we can enjoy some original content. Work on that. Yeah.
Well, but to Sean's point again, they sort of showed how you can do that with Black Adam. However, again, this is where your interactivity with the internet works to your advantage. You can have, it's like, look, here are the main heroes, or these are some background characters. You can know what's going on with them if you want to know. Like if you and you can make that part of your promotions. Like, hey, go learn about some of these characters, right? And that ties in. If you're smart, you have that website that ties into DC, so you can promote your comic books as well. But never count on anyone doing something smart. But that way, it's like, look, if you want to know who these characters are, or if you watch the movie, you're like, I would like to know a little bit more about this character. Here's your interactive thing where you can go through and take a look at it, but you don't have to necessarily waste time on something where I don't need to know necessarily. I don't need you to spend 30 minutes explaining to me how Mr. Terrific became Mr. Terrific. If he's like, hey, I'm just a dude who likes to do cool stuff. I'm done. Let's go blow shit up. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Sean had the best take on that with Avengers. I don't need to watch, Avengers 43 to realize that Hawkeye's cereal, when he was eating breakfast that morning, now plays into whatever is coming through. That's good.
Yeah. Again, Black Adam did a great job where when it was Atom Smasher and Tornado, where they're just, it's like, how'd you get your powers? How'd you get your powers? And it was like, over that fast. It was a moment they were connecting, and it felt intimate, but it was like maybe 2 minutes of the film Like they never explain Hawkman at all, and Dr. Fate, even with like they never explain him beyond the fact he's a sorcerer and that he's really old and the helmet's kept him alive. Like that's it. There's so much that is completely like they don't spend a lot of time on that because most people want to be like, okay, he's a sorcerer. This guy gets big. This chick has wind powers. Good. And this dude's and Aldous Hodge has wings.
Are you thinking
and
the same thing I was thinking, Sean,
mace.
just now?
I don't know, Ray, and usually not because you tend to think.
No, I was thinking when you said
so
chick.
what? Huh?
I was thinking when you just said this chick got her powers. However, I'm like,
This chick had wind powers. What about it?
yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking. What was it? What's the last good thing that you watched, Sean? I'm switching subjects, man.
That is a good question. You know, as far as things go, The Bear on FX has kicked back off for season 2. The cast and in that is phenomenal. They are acting. They're doing such a good job. So if you have not seen The Bear, I would highly recommend it. I think we're only on episode 3 on season 2, but that's because I don't want it to be over as quickly as it could be if I just binge watched it. I mean, seriously, dude, I could watch every single episode of those things back to back to back and be done with it in a minute. It's very intriguing. It's artfully shot and it's artfully written. It makes you think. There's a ton of space in that in that show to just watch it and absorb it and enjoy it. But yeah, as far as things go, Extraction 2, which again, Netflix movie.
How was that? I've been wanting to watch that.
Saw it last weekend. You know, if you are like the three of us and you enjoy the hallway scene in Daredevil season 1, you're gonna enjoy about 35 minutes of this movie.
Fuck on, man.
No, I like it.
That's a big hallway scene, man. Is that like that runway from Fast and the Furious?
Right. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it a lot. It was longer than I expected it to be, but it was exactly what it needed to be, which was very John Wickish. Yeah. So, you know, if you like that of like, hey, this is just a quick action flick and there's no reason, just watch it. It was really good. You know, so.
Anything at the theaters recently, or any new movies?
The last thing I saw in the theaters was Guardians. That was the last time I've been to the theaters, was Guardians 3. I haven't been to the theaters since then. Life is not allowing me to see anything. And then even if I wanted, like, there's very little I've had any gumption to really go see in the theater. I would love to see Oppenheimer in the theater. I'm really hoping I get the opportunity to see it in the theater. I just don't know if I will.
Apparently, the first appearance of Christopher Nolan filming sex scenes.
Really?
That's what they're saying. They're like, turns out Nolan went into hard R for this. So apparently that was part of it.
Yeah, they describe prolonged frontal nudity by
both
Cillian Murphy and what's her name?
Is that Emily Blunt too, or
is it Emily Blunt?
Or
wait, who's the girl from Black Widow? Is her sister?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Oh, is that who it is?
I think it's from both. I think it's from all of them.
Is it? Okay, is it from all of them? I don't know. I don't know.
From what I was
no idea.
reading.
I didn't realize there was prolonged full frontal nudity. Cillian Murphy nude. He's been nude in other things, so I'm not surprised by that. I didn't know about the rest of them, though. I had no idea. So.
Yeah. What about Barbie? You excited to see that in the theater?
No. I listen. I will commend the studio and the people who wrote it for the fact that they made a movie out of Barbie. It's getting all this hype, but that's also can be like a sign of how poor it's going to actually do. You know, the common joke that I've heard from actors is when they're doing those like, hey, you got to do a radio show tour, or we're gonna have you call in on all these radio shows and hype this movie up. But when they overhype it, it's like, oh, that's because it's a piece of shit. So I don't know if it's gonna be, but I hope it's not. I hope not, because I do love Margot Robbie, and I do love who's playing Ken.
Ryan
Oh,
Gosling.
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling.
Who's
I-
rumored to be the Mr. Fantastic. That's the new rumor.
I love the both of them. I think they're great actors, and so would love. I hope it does well for them.
I can't see them being. I can't see two good actors picking a bad movie to start. It's not to say that it hasn't happened.
I was about to say it's happened an awful lot. There,
happened
right?
an awful lot, but I have to imagine that there's something to it. Like this one, I'll watch this one out of sheer curiosity, and I may even be like, I may be like, oh my god, you guys.
There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good actors in The English Patient. That was 3 dog turds.
It won an Oscar though, didn't it?
Oscars. That's. Not...
I think it won an Oscar for like cinematography. So they were like, they were like, look, we recognize you guys shot this really well, but I'd rather have killed myself than watch this film. So it was a terrible movie.
Yeah. Since I took this week off, I did, and I had Daniel's birthday. We went and saw Transformers: Rise of the Beast. It's good. Honest, it's as good as any of the Bay films were. I mean, that's it. That's the end of the
time out, real quick, Jason. Sean, The English Patient won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor and Actress were both nominated. Supporting Actress won Best Art Director.
Sorry, they were
Best
nominated.
Cinematography.
No, it's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie.
This thing cleaned up in '96.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Well, it's
matter.
like Grand Canyon.
Terrible movie.
Yeah.
I saw Grand Canyon because it won all these it won a bunch of awards, and I'm like, no, I'm out. This is just I couldn't finish the film. It was terrible.
I kind of want to see the new oh my gosh, what's that new movie with Tom Hanks, like a list of actors? It's a Wes Anderson film.
Asteroid
City.
Asteroid City, yeah.
Want to see that one. Jason, anything else you see over the week?
I saw Sound of Freedom. It's good, but it's heavy. Like it's a really good film. It's very, very heavy.
Nice.
It's not graphic in any way. Like you're not going to have a scarred psyche but it is the knowledge. It's shot very well. There's only genuinely one scene I wish they would have done differently. But other than that, it's a good, solid film. Again, it's one of those cases where it's a $14 million budget, and it doesn't feel like a $14 million film. There's one scene where towards the end where you're like, okay, I see where they didn't have the money to focus on, like the actual event took place in Haiti and Colombia. It was like 120 people were saved. They focused just on this one aspect of it in Colombia. But yeah, it's a great film. Just very, very heavy. Very heavy.
Cool.
Next film you're looking forward to?
Honestly, there was one that I thought, hey, that looks interesting, but I can't remember what it is now. Like Oppenheimer and Barbie, I'm kind of waiting for. I kind of want to see Barbie, but I want to wait for streaming.
I think we can all agree on Dune 2, though, right?
Oh yeah, well, Dune 2. Yes, yeah.
That's one that's an afterthought. I mean, I feel like it's a gimme. That's why I'm not even mentioning it. But
I was really
anyone hyped for Blue Beetle?
Hyped? No, but I do want to. But I'm interested. I want to see it. It looks like it could be good.
The overwhelming amount of enthusiasm from the three of us on that question.
Well, but I think let's be honest though. I do think we are burned out. Where it's like
I've mentioned that several times. That's why I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying non-comic book stuff right now. I'm really liking non-comic book stuff. The other thing I did see, I forgot to mention, I did watch Way of Water. And the best part of that movie was 12 minutes before the end. And my wife looks over at me. She goes, "How long is this?"
So you didn't like the movie. You like the reaction your wife gave.
No, I said that was the best part. I didn't say I didn't enjoy.
Okay.
I mean,
just asking.
I did think it was okay. It did not. My wife's comment was completely justified. There was an hour and 10 minutes that could have been cut out of this film. Easy, an hour and 10 minutes, in my opinion. And it's
James
not
Cameron doesn't
because-
believe so.
I don't care what James Cameron thinks. James Cameron, well, he made it.
If I'm
up
building a
for
sub,
so
I'm
at
going
least
to care
he's
about what
got
James
clout,
Cameron
you know what
thinks.
I mean? Like the guy's done his research. Let's say that much at least. He knows
Yeah.
he knows how to get himself out of a deep dive situation. But like I
I'm
don't.
gonna leave that alone.
I definitely think
Ocean
that
Gate shouldn't have.
it could have been shorter. Were the scenes that were in there, was it a great development? I mean, yeah, it all develops the characters, it all moves things along, and I get it, but there's also it's like come on, James, it didn't need to be over 3 hours for this. To end with the knowledge of there's another one coming. You know what I mean? Like when this thing ends and you kind of go, oh God, there's another one of these. Like the first one ended, it was fine. It was fine where the first one ended. And now you did
First
this
one was
one, and
too
I'm
long.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's watch this, and it just, I don't know. It had a lot of, it was a really big idea that they just couldn't let any part of it go. And I feel like if you trim some of those pieces off and honed in on like one specific area or even 3 specific areas, you could have made a more focused movie and had it shorter too and be more engaging. It was good for if you don't care and you just want to watch a movie, great. Turn your brain off, watch the movie. There's nothing wrong with it. But other than that, wasn't that the bad guy from the last time? Yeah, it was the bad guy from the last time. Why is he in this one now? Well, because he's different. How is he different? Well, he's taller. Oh. Okay.
It's like, didn't they blow him up? Yeah, I get it.
He's taller now, Jason.
Yeah. I've seen like my son and wife have been watching it sporadically. And I'll walk in, I'm like, wait, didn't they kill him? Why is Sigourney Weaver back? Like, my wife's like, he doesn't know who Sigourney Weaver is.
I will give them this props, though. In the trailer, no spoilers. Not a single spoiler in any of the trailers for Avatar Way of Water. Not one. Not
You
one.
learned from Terminator 2.
I don't remember watching the trailer going like, wait a minute, isn't that guy, it's the same movie as the first movie, a little bit longer. And this time they're in the water instead of jungle. So, I mean, honestly,
well, thank you for ruining the entire movie by telling me it's in water.
Well,
instead
Jason,
of in the jungle.
I understand that the trailers didn't give it away. And I'm sorry for having ruined your day.
That movie still made $2.3 billion.
I know, because people were,
which is going to be a problem with the whole
it.
SAG actor thing, because it's like, look, we can turn out crap and we'll still get paid to see it.
But also,
every single person
all motion captured. They're
thing.
Oh, I know. My point is, though, it's still not a great movie. They're still making. Still made $2 billion.
That's why the Directors Guild didn't strike. Just telling you,
James Cameron.
They didn't strike. They had the opportunity to. There could be 3 different divisions, but nope. Just the writers and actors, because for the most part, they're the ones that are really affected.
All right, last joke. So
the
movie's like 3 hours long, right?
Yeah, it was over 3 hours. It was like 3 hours 12 minutes, and that's why I thought it was funny that it's like 12 minutes left. And my wife goes, "How long is this?" And I'm like,
"How long is this movie?"
Like, we're all like, the credits are about to roll. We're right there.
How long had she been sitting on that to finally be like, "Ah"? Because that might have been an hour before where she was thinking that.
I think that would have come out like 2 hour and 30-minute section.
We finished dinner about 35 to 40 minutes into the movie. So the whole rest of the 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 15 minutes was straight movie where we were watching. So yeah, I don't know. All I know is when she got up to go to the bathroom, she didn't ask me to pause it.
So the movie was longer than the Ocean Gate dive? Is that what I'm hearing?
Stop.
No.
The Ocean Gate dive was forever, sir.
Yeah.
Stop.
As was Way of Water.
But
The opinions.
I definitely felt like as I was watching this, I did look over at her. I was like, you can tell James Cameron has been spending a lot of time on the water.
Oh yeah.
By the way, the animation and the digital everything of the water and the way it looks. I will give them this. It looks phenomenal. Yes, you can
Yeah.
tell the whole thing is animated, but I was just watching and I'm like, it is superb. It was not given to an AI. It was definitely done by people doing this. So
Does it?
No,
Does
it looks amazing. The parts I've seen look absolutely amazing. And
does it ever take you out of the movie?
I don't think so. Maybe a little bit, but not really. You know what I mean? Not really. I did feel pretty engaged the whole time. I don't feel like I had. I mean, despite the fact that I was like, obviously this whole thing is not believable, but I never felt like I had to suspend my disbelief to watch it. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. No, I get it.
The only
we see
time-
superhero movies. People are moving at the speed of light, and they're okay. I mean, and they fly. I mean, yeah, we get what you mean.
There was one instance where I went, well, that's convenient, and that's all I'm gonna say. In one part of the movie,
Plot
I was
armor?
like, well, that's convenient. I was just like, whatever. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah.
Okay.
But again, whatever.
One thing that you will not regret watching is Strange New Worlds. Season 2 is out, and they're doing it, once a week. It was season 1. I'm like, this is as good as any of the classic Treks have been. Season 2 is even better. In fact, it gets into sort of like the old school, like the original hijinks, sort of things.
Where are you
but it's
pointing
good.
to?
The hijinks that are right there.
The hijinks are
They're
over
off
there.
screen. Yeah, the hijinks are over there, dude. Do you not know? Are the hijinks in the room with you?
God, I
Calls
hope
are coming
not.
from inside the house.
Yeah, the hijinks are coming from inside the house. Yeah, no, it's a great show. No, it really is solid. It's honestly, I'll say, depending on how season 2 rounds out, I'll say I'll put it up there with DS9 and the original series.
What? Why are you pointing, man? What's your
Oh, it's just how he froze at that moment.
Mhm.
Oh.
Um,
I would need to get Paramount. Wait, is it Paramount Plus?
Yeah, it's Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah. So I mean, again,
Allie, come down. Oh, for love.
small dog barks.
Yeah, well, she's excited by my mentioning of it's the I saw him pulling up. It's
are those her hijinks?
it's her high. That's the hijinks I was pointing to. The exterminator just showed up.
And
To kill
she's
the
worried?
dog?
Like, dude, I'd be barking too, man. Doggone it, Jason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an
Oh.
infestation of little dogs, really. Let's be honest.
That's how chihuahuas usually work.
Yeah.
It's
You
infestation.
see one, there's 20 you don't see.
Are we just dragging this out to punish
Yeah.
ourselves or the potential listener?
I guess.
Yeah.
potential
No, Strange New
listeners
Worlds.
are
Goes.
gonna-
I'm loving it. Strange New Worlds is great.
Thank you, Sean, for getting me into The Rookie. Speaking of Nathan Fillion from earlier,
Oh yeah.
love that series.
Great
Like we
series.
talked about, great series, but
Mhm.
like the most unluckiest cop in the world.
Yeah, that's
He should be
exactly what
fired.
he is too.
He should be fired from the force now, just because of the trouble he brings. Just
Yeah,
by
just to
waking
protect
up
the
in
force. Like,
morning.
no. This
Yeah,
like you're
you're
some
fired.
sort of weird magnet. for
I would
this.
say mall security, but I could see bad things happening at the mall as well.
Yeah. That's
He is
fair.
this generation's John McClane in that show.
John McClane had an easier time than he does in that show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whose generation of what he is. He's just Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
He's this generation's Guy Gardner is what he is.
There you go. McLean, you want to sign us out, or do we have anything else? God, I hope not.
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah. Can
Positive?
we end it now? Can we just
Can we
End it
end
all?
it now?
That's how I feel
Yeah.
about this. That's how I feel exactly about this year. Like, we just end this year now.
Please don't judge Jeremy over at Titan Comics, purveyor of fine geeky accoutrement. We don't know why we do this to you. We don't know why we do this to ourselves. We could just go out to eat or something or bowling. But instead we do this, and you're along for the ride. May God have mercy on all of our souls.